Welcome back to the Success Catalyst. Today we have an extraordinary guest, Sarah Dawkins, a holistic health and healing coach, keynote speaker, and the author of Heal Yourself. Sarah is also a multi-award winning entrepreneur and spent 20 years as a registered nurse. Her extensive experience in health and healing comes not only from her professional background, but also from her personal journey of naturally self-healing a multitude of health issues. Sarah is dedicated to helping her clients find and heal the root causes of their health problems, thereby improving their health and ultimately their lives. I'm so excited to dive deeper into Sarah's insights on holistic health and healing today. Welcome to the show, Sarah.
Thank you, Nina. It's lovely to be here with you.
It's lovely to have you. So, you transitioned from a 20-year career as a registered nurse to becoming a holistic health and healing coach. Can you share what inspired this shift?
Yes. So I qualified as a nurse in 2001. I'm very early into my work as a qualified nurse in 2005 when we lived in America at the time. We'd moved out there. One of my colleagues questioned my use of pharmaceuticals at home. So I started wondering why she would do that as a nurse herself. And being brought up in the medical model, that was all I knew. When you're sick, you go to the doctors, get a diagnosis and a pill. So my mind's going, why is she saying that? So I went home and did lots of research, found out how powerful our bodies are to heal themselves, and started looking at what I could do to start helping support my own body to heal myself. And the more I did, the more I learned, the more I understood, the more conflicted I was within the medical model working as a nurse. And eventually, the conflict got a bit too much, and I decided I could no longer uphold the registration, the standards of a registered nurse working in that medical model, because I had done so much healing. And I knew that we didn't actually need the pharmaceuticals. Our bodies are so capable. So I surrendered my license and trained as a coach to help others to do the same.
I love that story. That is so inspiring. And you know what? Many people are usually looking for symptoms and usually looking for to heal the symptoms, to just make the symptoms disappear. But I think the symptoms are only a message from the body that, hey, this is not going as expected. Something is wrong. And this is like my notification that this is wrong. This is not the problem. This is just a message that something beyond that, beneath that, is wrong. So,
So true.
I really appreciate you delving into holistic health because I think this is the future for humankind. We have gone a long way since the discovery of medicine, but since then, I think at some point we became lazy. We're just looking at the symptoms and trying to heal the symptoms, whereas what's beneath is really the problem or the message. Could be anything that your body's trying to convey to any message or any kind of sign. So I want to ask you now, what does holistic health and healing mean to you on a personal level, and how does it differ from conventional medical approaches? So let's dive deeper into that.
Okay, so holistic healing is encompassing the mind, the emotions, the physical, and the spiritual aspects of health. Because Western medicine, traditionally, the medical model only tends to look at the physical side. And I have to admit, I did when I first started my own healing journey, because I was so ingrained and entrenched in that medical model. So I was only looking at what can I do? How can I eat better, sleep better, hydrate better, and exercise better? Just looking at the physical points of healing.
Mhm.
But it wasn't until I started my journey and did lots more research that I realized there was all these other aspects to it as well. So true healing, as you've rightly said, is about identifying the root cause of our symptoms, not just taking a pill to stop a symptom. And that root cause can be anything. It can be a physical cause, it can be a mental cause, it can be an emotional cause, and it can be a spiritual cause. all of these will produce physical symptoms. So even if it's not a physical cause, um, we can our mind will still manifest symptoms in our body and pain, and these symptoms and pain are really there. They are not just imagined, they are proper physical symptoms, but they're coming from an other than physical cause. So holistic healing takes all of it into account. It's very rounded. It's physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. So we have to address all of those to be able to truly heal our body. So it's like 4 pillars of healing. And we have to dive deep into each one rather than just look like I did initially because I didn't know, into the physical. We have to take a deeper look.
I love that. And you know what? It's not usually something very comfortable to dive deep into other areas of this holistic experience that is healing, because some problems are psychological, some problems are subconscious. We don't even know why the body is acting that way, or we've forgotten, or it's stored some way, like within, I don't know, our trauma or our memories. And it's sometimes difficult and challenging to dive deep enough to get the root cause. And just as any other diagnostician, I think sometimes we can get mixed signals or a message that we may interpret wrong. So I think this is very important to have a coach that would direct us and would really guide us through this journey. I'm really passionate about holistic health because I've experienced the power of holistic health myself. I managed to cure myself from an autoimmune disease just by asking myself honestly and very straightforwardly, why was my body attacking itself? And eventually, through like many times and many rounds of introspection, I finally admitted to myself, because the cause was very hidden from even from me. I didn't dare to admit it, but once I admitted it, it's like, okay, so that's the problem. I see you, I hear you. No, it's no issue anymore, and you get to be at peace. And since then, everything is going just as fine. I know that you wrote a book that I can see in the background. The book is called Heal Yourself. And I know it has resonated with many people. So, what motivated you to write it, and what are the key messages or principles that we can find in it?
Thank you. I started writing it as I was coming out of depression with suicidal thoughts, and I'd already healed eczema, psoriasis, acid reflux, candida, chronic pain, an underactive thyroid. And then as I was healing the depression, suicidal thoughts, and my adrenal glands from all the stress, I thought I need to help other people to understand how they can heal their body, because obviously I had a real blinkered view of the world until then, with when I'm sick, I get a pill and I don't need to change anything. And suddenly now there's all this extra. I'm like, I need to help people to see that they can step outside of just taking a pill and heal from the root cause. And I wrote about all my own healing, what I'd done and how I'd done it, to help other people on their own journey. But after the first 10,000 words, it's like, okay, so it's just all about me, and it's only the symptoms that I had and diagnosis that I had. And I thought, it just doesn't sit right with me. It felt quite narcissistic. But then I got this voice in my ear from my childhood: who do you think you are? I'm like, okay, so maybe I'm not that person, I'm not that author. And self-doubt crept in, and I put that book away for 5 years. And then one day I just woke up and like, it's got to be other people involved in it, and it's got to be lots of other health
Mhm.
problems. So I reached out on social media, and 74 people came back to me with their healing from things like multiple different autoimmunes, cancer, Lyme, multiple sclerosis, stroke, ALS, or as we call it, motor neurone disease in the UK, allergies, asthma, eczema, all sorts of different health problems. And they'd all done similar but different things. And they all shared their own healing with the same view as myself, to help other people to see that we can heal these health problems even when doctors say we can't, and we can do it without pharmaceuticals as well.
Wow. I love that message in the book, and I love how you collaborated with other people to make the experience even richer. So to all our listeners, the book is called Heal Yourself by Sarah Dawkins, and it's already in 4 languages. I can see it in French, in English, in
Dutch
Spanish, and
and
in
Spanish.
Dutch.
Yes,
Amazing. All right.
thank you.
So now I want to know, like, how do you go about identifying and addressing the root cause every time you have someone who needs your healing approach that is holistic healing? So how, like, can you explain it? Can you explain the process?
Sure. I just have a conversation with people, and just ask them about, to tell me about their life in general, their childhood, their upbringing, their friends, what they did, the jobs they do. And as they're talking, some of their some of what they say will raise a red flag in my mind. So I just allow them to tell me whatever they want to tell me. And then I will ask for more clarity, more information around certain things, certain elements, and get them to take a deeper look into it, and look at their thoughts and feelings around different situations. So, my aim is for them to identify an issue in their life that will translate into a symptom that they're having or a diagnosis that they have in their body. It's not my job to tell them. They have to find it for themselves to be able to see it clearly for what it is. And by me asking for clarity and getting more detail, it helps them to unpick certain
Mm.
situations and join the dots and makes those links. So it is purely conversational sessions that I have with clients to help them to see for themselves what if they can't ask their body and understand why am I manifesting these symptoms or this diagnosis, helping them to clearly identify things that have happened in their life and how they're holding that and how that relates to their symptoms. And it's specifically around the words that they use as well.
Mhm.
Certain words tie in with their diagnoses that they might use to describe a situation in the past. And I help them to see how the use of that word is specific to that situation in the past and how that would have sat in their body and in their mind and manifested the symptoms.
I love that approach, and I think it's important to have like an out loud conversation, because we can have as many conversations with ourselves as we want, but eventually the subconscious mind has a way to distract us. Every time the conversation becomes uncomfortable, it's
Yeah.
not like if you are sitting across me, I have to respond. I have to talk to you. I can just like change the subject. We are in the session. I have to go through it. But if I'm with just talking to myself, as I did before, because I went through this experience, and it was very challenging because every time my mind finds a way to distract me, I would say, yeah, but whatever. Like it would just change the subject or make something else seem more important or more urgent. And the next time I'm gonna have this conversation, I wouldn't know, like, where did we stop last time? That's very hard to remember if it's just for with yourself that you're having this conversation. So can you share a success story of a client who significantly improved their health through your holistic approach, and what were the key factors in their healing process?
So I had an extended session with a client recently, and they had anxiety, which spilled out into health. So there was health anxiety, but life as well, anxiety around all sorts of issues in life.
Mm.
And by talking to them and helping them to explore their whole life, they saw that they weren't actually living in alignment. They weren't doing what they wanted to do. They were people pleasing, to make other people happy and putting themselves last, which caused a huge amount of anxiety and conflict in their body. And just the questions that I asked helped them to discover the root cause, which there was an issue in childhood, which they then saw that they hadn't seen previously.
Mm.
And by the end of it was an extended session, longer than normal. They saw all the links that had brought them to where they are now with that anxiety. And after the session, I found out that they radically changed their life and are living a lot happier life. And all it took was that one extended session for them to see and identify and then start making changes, putting themselves first. Um, and living a totally different life, one that they chose, not one that they were trying to please other people and not being their authentic self.
Wow, that is truly inspiring. I love that story. And it's so interesting that it can only take one other session, one other conversation to make things clear. And it's really amazing how once you make things clear within the mind, once the root cause is identified, it's like you're more than halfway through the healing process. Identification of the root cause is the most important thing because otherwise you're gonna try to heal something else, all other kinds of causes that may seem apparent, but they're not the root cause. But once you find it, and it's usually something psychological, obviously, so once you find it, you make peace with it, you just label it, okay, this is the cause, now I hear you, and let's just make peace with it and move forward. So thank you for sharing this story, Sarah. And for those who are new to the concept of holistic health, what advice would you give them to start their journey towards self-healing and overall well-being?
I think it's got to come back down to loving ourselves.
Mhm.
So many problems come from our inability to love ourselves. I mean, truly love us for who we are, because we are the total sum of our life's experiences. So, whatever we've gone through in the past has shaped us into who we are today. And,
Mhm.
and we can't deny that, because this is who we are. And once we can come to a place of love and acceptance of who we are now, even the parts of us that we don't like, we can start learning to love them, to start learning to accept them first and foremost, and then learn to love them, because they are part of us. We are a whole. And if we can start learning to love ourselves, our whole world changes, because we're coming from a place of love, not a place of hate or fighting or conflict. We're coming from a place of love. So look at yourself, look at the parts that you really don't like, learn to accept them for what they are, and then bring yourself round to a place of learning to love yourself for who you are. We can't change the past, but we can change the way we look at it and reframe it
Mhm.
into something that makes more sense, looking back through the eyes of an adult, because we're holding on to the memories through the eyes of a child who didn't have the knowledge and skills we have today. So if we can bring that compassion with the knowledge and skills we've got now to that child of us, to that adolescent of us, to that young adult of us, and into our hearts now for who we are, and come from a place of love.
I love that advice. Thank you, Sarah, for sharing this. And I want to know what's next for you, Sarah. So, are there any upcoming projects, books, workshops, or any goals that you're excited about? And can you share anything with us today?
Thank you. I have a few things on the boil at the minute.
Okay.
I am doing more speaking from a stage to help reach more people,
Mhm.
using other people's audiences. I have just organised my first retreat with a friend of mine here just up the road in a Spanish friend's converted bodega. So we're going to do a holistic healing retreat for a long weekend in September. Please get in touch if you want more information. And I have just relaunched my Heal Yourself at Home course today. I have updated it and revamped it, put new information in it, and it's literally spoon feeding people to help them to understand the mental, the physical, the emotional, and the spiritual aspects of healing, and work through them themselves with action plans to find and heal their own root cause.
Oh my God, I'm so excited for these goals. I look forward to that retreat in September. I would definitely want to know more about it if I could make it. I would definitely want to. And well, in the meantime, what I can do is I'll put your information in the description of the episode so that our listeners can reach you and connect with you. And finally, is there any message that you would like to leave with our listeners today, especially those who may be struggling with health issues and looking for ways to heal, improve their lives?
Come back to that place of love, learn to love yourself, but also you have to believe that you can heal.
Mm,
If you haven't got that belief that you can heal, if you feel the need to go to the doctors and take a pill, you will struggle to heal yourself. First and foremost, you have to have the belief that you can heal. And you can look at it from a smaller point of view. Think about if you cut yourself and bruise yourself, you know that your body will heal those.
yeah.
So if it can heal those, why would it not be able to heal anything else? We are born innate healers. Our body knows what to do. We just have to support it, and we have to look at it holistically from the mental, emotional, spiritual, and what did I miss out? Mind, body, spirit, and what was the oh my gosh.
Whole brain.
Yeah, mental, physical, the physical, the one that
Oh,
everybody
that's
goes through
secondary.
first. Yeah, so we have to look at it through the eyes of all those four pillars of healing.
You
But
know, I
please
love
believe you can.
belief is so important, and we believe in many things, but for things that we don't know or we haven't seen achieved or done yet, our minds like need some support in believing, and that support will come through affirmations, will come through practicing that vision of ourselves healed and practicing gratitude as well. That's important. And I love the example that you mentioned about when you cut yourself, you know it's going to heal. It's like 100% sure. Of course it's going to heal, but we still don't know how. So why don't we question it? It's the same mechanism. Our brains and our bodies are so smart and so complex. We don't know like at all what's going on beneath, like what's the system behind, what's the software behind. Nobody knows. We can only observe and interpret stuff, but we still don't know. And we know for sure that it works. So just as any cut, just as any bruise, it can all heal. Our bodies have that power. So thanks a lot, Sarah, for sharing this powerful message today. Um, I look forward to speaking to you soon, to collaborating with you on other projects. And to our listeners, thank you for listening to the Success Catalyst podcast with Sarah Dawkins today, and we'll see you in the next episode.